Yes, I hope you can hear me. I'm so excited. My summit is today. I've been waiting for it for a long time. Let's see if we can get music. Music is always food for the soul. And I hope you can hear that because I can hear it. But anytime I start a professional development, anytime I'm excited about something, anytime I want to get my teachers pumped, I always start music. So when you do your professional development teachers and leaders and instructional leaders and principals, you make sure you start music. And when you start music, you participate and you dance. Gets people excited, get people want to share. Oh, and food is also a good tip. Like I said, I am very excited. Today is the first day of my summit. Welcome, 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 everybody. I have some great speakers for you. I hope you opted in because we are so excited to have you a part of the team. Our keynote is coming up. Oh my God, Steve Ventura is amazing. And he's going to talk about success criteria. You are going to love him just as much as I love him. And what makes this kind of a little different is I want you to participate. I want you to collaborate. I want you to really get into what it takes to support our educators throughout the year, because this is going to be a different type of year, a different type of experience for all of us. And so best practice and tips that you have, let us know, share it, because I've been sharing as much as I can with you. So definitely welcome to EI 360 Coaching Summit, Coaching with Premier Teaching and Learning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like I said, I always start off with a celebration. My teachers love it. They know I'm crazy, but that's great because sometimes it allows them to be crazy too. And they have to be comfortable in working with you. And they have to be comfortable knowing that it's okay to fail. And sometimes I mess up and I convene, especially when they're nervous about taking over the leadership. So keep that in mind. So I want to share with you a little tidbit. I also have a welcome video at the coaching summit, but I want to share with you something a little bit more, something that talks about really transforming cultures. I really love when it comes to transforming cultures. And so I want to share, but before I share, tell me who's out there? Where are you from? What school? What's your title? So go ahead and leave that in the comments. So I know I'm talking to other people, but I definitely want you to share that. So I also, too, want to give you access to the PowerPoint because some people say when I do presentations on StreamYard, they really can't see the PowerPoint that well. And so we'll definitely get that up and going for you. So here we go. Coaching 360 coaching with Premier Teaching and Learning. And so I create this from action. Like, what are you doing to get started? Do. Today, this year is the year of do. And even if you think that it is not a good fit or you're worried about your principal, don't worry about that. Just do. Try things out. This is the year of do. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And so, of course, you know about me, coaching everywhere, anytime. I support teachers throughout the classroom, and we have growth, NWEA growth, teacher retention. When teachers feel like they're valued, they stay, and administrative updates. Principals get a bird's eye view of what we're doing in school. So kind of that gives you an overview on who I am, what research I'm working on, and it's all about transforming school cultures with feedback. And, teachers really need the support, and nobody really goes to their principal and say, I don't understand, I don't have this teaching thing down. So they need the mentorship throughout the year, and that's kind of what my company provides. So hopefully that gives you an insight, and feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. And so let me know. And so we're going to go ahead and move on. And I talk about climate. How is your climate? How is your school culture? What do your students feel like when they see you, when they see people that are at your school site? They're feelings and experiences have a major impact on what they say to their parents, how they feel about your school, and it affects their daily lives. We have a big influence. And so when students don't feel safe or they don't feel comfortable and they don't think they're a part of a supportive environment, they're a different person. And we have to continuously persist through positive change. I think we know the handshakes. That's a cool little way, but there's other ways. You don't have to do the handshake. There's other ways to engage in your students, from pulling them out to small groups. You can discuss and talk with them there. There's so many other ways to get creative. And so just positive school development, chocolate. There was time when I used to bring chocolate to each one. So I would buy one bag, like my money was always funny. So I would bring chocolate, one bag of chocolate, and it had like so many pieces. And I would give one teacher a chocolate with a little note that says, I appreciate you for being you. And like I said, at the beginning of the year, it's all about those building relationships. It's the same online. Building those relationships are key. So when you have your meetings or your Voxer meetings, I think as Stephanie said it, but your Voxer meetings, and you hear that they have a need, you make sure you remember that and write that down. So when you meet them again, you address the need. And so when I say you got to take notes, you got to know your people, know their families, because if they mention their son, there's a way in. That's a conversation that we can have. So this is a fifth grade teacher, Joshua Kennedy. He greets the students and he says, "This is the way we do things around here. My students know that they feel safe and they're always loved and welcome to talk to me about any subject." So I often ask, who comes to you? Do your students come to you with personal content, personal information that they want to share? Do your teachers come to you with personal things that they want to share? Do they feel safe enough? And it's important for us to start early with their safety. And safety and security is sharing and giving a little bit up about yourself, but then also listening and always listening. So, what are the challenges that you face at your school? And think of our external factors like, Black Lives Matter. I will say that I'm all about Black Lives Matter. And I just kind of want to say that in the beginning because a lot of people, they're confused. And this is just a ploy to say, our voices matter. Our parents matter. What we say matters. So constantly listen to our parents and what we're saying and how we can best support and think of ways that we can be a part of the school because we want to see our children grow as well. And as you know about me, I kind of put on different hats, teacher, mother, and we all do that. But I often do audits in schools and I keep saying, what are the challenges? Have somebody walk your school. Have a teacher walk your school, have a parent walk your school, and have them take notes. And that's the biggest eye opener that you will have. And so I had a parent one time. I said, take notes on what are the things that you see when you come to my school. I had her put a visitor tag on. She went into some classrooms and she just gave me some just ideas. And when she said she walked into the school, there was no carpet on the floor, no rug to wipe her feet. And the floors were dirty in the entrance. These are some things like, I say they're like ugly wallpaper. After a week, you don't realize the wallpaper is that ugly. But what she gave me, she just gave me ideas on how I could do little changes to improve the school. So yes, she said it was dark and there's jewelry. So what I did, teachers, we filled it up with student work in that hallway to make it bright and welcoming. We had a rug that said the school name. We had lighting to like spotlight the teachers or people when they walk through. And we had our receptionist say, welcome to such and such school, where we make sure we make you feel valued, right? And so she had a script. She said, instead of saying, hello, what are you here for? And it made a difference. And that teacher, that parent felt valued, that she added something, and it was a big deal. So when I tell you little changes can really change a school. And we think, well, coaches, but I hate to say coaches really have so much influence because we're in that gray area. We can not only support the principal with their needs and what we see, because I say the walls are talking, what we see that the walls are saying, and we can support the teachers by helping them and say, hey, the principal is talking about doing a walk. Let's, we're excited about walks. And so hopefully this week we'll come in and see, giving heads up to your teachers as well. And so they know that one, that you're there for them, and then you're there to support them. And so I often say the 3 levels of culture. What do you see on your visit, on your first impression? Like when you walk into school, what are some things you would love to change? And I would definitely jot that down because after that, like I said, it's ugly wallpaper. Okay. And then 2, what are some things that are part of your school culture? We know the school song, we know the high fives, the secretary, says what she says on the monitor and microphone. But when I do audits, like I said, I ask everybody in the school. As a principal, from the janitor, to the cleaning, to the people in the cafeteria, I ask every person in the school, what brings you to school every day? Why do you love us so much? Oh, Doreen, thank you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. Yes. Oh, like I said, I have amazing people. And so what do you love about the school? What brings you to school every day? What is your joy? And some teachers will say, it's my colleagues, and some teachers will say, it's my one student that I'm really working with. But whatever it is, you need to know that because that fuels their soul and wanting to be there and be at work every day. And also ask them if you had a magic wand. Ding! What is the one thing you have to fix? What is the one thing you need to fix? And then the other part to that is, do you have any solutions? What's the solution to the one thing you want to fix? And so when I say that, I keep saying emotional deposits in their bank account because that now teachers and educators and the assistant principal, now they feel included in the goal for the year, right? Now they have a voice. And so they're sharing, man, our cafeteria systems stink, right? So that's a PD. That is our first PD of the year. How can we get systems in place for it? And we're putting them in groups. They're sharing out loud. And I don't have it now because it's on StreamYard, but always, always have text up for your professional developments. I don't have it now, and I'm gonna upload this to YouTube, but have your text up so people can kind of hear what you're saying, because many times I get so excited and I start speaking so fast and they're like, what'd you say, Cassandra? So anyway, and you start putting them in group. Tamara, you are right. Climate and culture, critical, critical, critical. Tamara Foley just had a PD on, trauma and really working with trauma. It was a great PD. So shout out to Tamara. You're right. School culture is so big, especially in the fall. We need to meet the needs of our new learners. So after we have all this information, so I'm at my desk, I'm at my principal desk, and I have my list. I've met with each person individually. People know the questions I'm going to ask them. So they don't think like, oh, it's a sabotage. And so I say, what's your magic wand? What's the one thing you want to fix? How are you going to fix it? And what brings you to school every day? Oh my gosh, I keep telling the story because it's amazing. I had Matt, I'm going to say his name, Max. Hopefully there's a lot of Maxes out there. But Max, one teacher, male teacher, just beautiful soul. And he said, Cassandra, the one thing that brings me to school every day is I can add a little piece of music to my class because I love music, and I would love to do it more. And I'm trying to figure out what, because that's what brings me to class. And he's like, I've been thinking about it and I would like to do after school activity with music. And I would like to teach students how to play guitar. And I'm thinking, ooh, ding, ding, ding. If I can do something that feeds Matt's soul, if I can do something that allows him to bring pieces of him to work, I'm all over that. So what am I doing? I'm looking up where's funding. Where can I find funding? How can I pay him as a stipend? Maybe he could do it after school. Maybe he could do it before school. How would students opt in? How would teachers opt in? And I'm thinking of all these different ways to feed his soul. Why? Because when teachers feel that they are valued, they stay. So I'm doing this for every person that has some type of solution that I can do something with. And so not only did Matt start an after school guitaring class. We had other teachers. He did it for 6 weeks. We had other teachers do a class on piano and they were collaborating. So now I'm feeding other people's soul with the joy factor that they bring to school. Matt played guitar during a couple of our lunch sessions. So when you start seeing how these pieces are coming together and how you're feeding the souls of your teachers and your staff and you're changing your school culture, and then you have the teachers start collaborating and bringing bigger issues and solving problems, that is what it's all about. And that's how we have to support. And so when we think about changing the fundamental beliefs of the schools, the students, and the staff, that's how you have to do it. Continuously get buy-in and continuously support the people that are your biggest advocates. And so I talk about the collegial environment, problem solving, and people got to trust you. They got to know that you're on their side and you're on their team. And so when you look for the starters. You try to find some of the starters. Yay! Lois, we got some cool people. Tony, all right, shout out to you. Oh, I love you. And so, yes, we think about our starters. Who are our leaders? And so look at the people who are already collaborating, who are the people that go above and beyond to fix things even though nobody's looking. Those are the people you start with. The ones that are staying, that really, before and after school, they're meeting informally. And so those are the people that will help you with your united shared vision. And eventually, more people will come along the way. But you have to keep that in mind. And when you're talking about problem solving, staff, they need to be interested in the problem solving. Teachers need to trust and feel comfortable when problems arise to not only share the problem, but provide solutions to the problem. And there has to be clear communication so everybody feels like they're a part or they're in the loop. There's nothing worse than your staff saying, wait, that happened? I don't know. How do you know? And so that changes your trust. So if you have a monthly newsletter or a weekly newsletter that goes out, remember, teachers have a lot on their plate. First paragraph, we're like, oh. And so keep that in mind as well. Your announcements and even IMs. We used to get IMs. Hey, there's an emergency across the street. Don't worry. And the details of it. A student, was apprehended. We didn't have to do a lockdown this time, but I appreciate your support and guidance through this measure. And so everybody was in the know. Although teachers talked about it in the student lounge and want to know more information, but it's nothing like being in the know and wanting to, and teachers feel like they're not being left out. So I'm not going to go over all this presentation because it's a lot, but I did want to share a little bit about, how do we build climate and culture and what are our thoughts and how we support teachers throughout the year. And so I'm going to do one more slide because I love you guys. I love you guys. Oh, I got a good love. So I think I'm going to do one more slide and then I want us to talk a little bit about it. What are some questions that we have to ask ourselves? Because we are learners and we have to continuously learn. And I often say, if you're a principal or a leader out there and you don't have a cohort, get one. And it's not hard to get a cohort. It's not hard to find friends, but it's good to have people that support you and support you in the system, whether you find them on Facebook, Instagram, or whether you create the cohort yourself. It is so necessary to have a group of people, a group of 3 to 5 people that either you are on Voxer with that says, okay, I'm having a stressful moment here. I had a angry parent, and you need somebody to vent to. And it's great if the person is not at your school site. because it allows you to really be free, and it allows them to be honest with you. And so this is a question. These 4 questions I ask people who are leaders, and if they don't know, that means they're not tracking. It's just like data. Anything that you want to improve, you have to gather the data. If you want to improve relationships, you have to gather the data. I can't say that any much more than I'm saying it now. Do I know my teacher's individual talents and their interests? Um, that's important. So I know Sue, she does, she's good with organizing schedules, and she would volunteer for that, but she would love to do that. And many times if there's something I'm pulling out or rolling out, I would ask Sue beforehand. And if Sue says, no, I can't handle the capacity, then that's fine. I'll open it up to everybody and say, hey, we're doing this project. I'm looking for somebody to organize this schedule. I would love it. If we can volunteer. Other than that, I will take it on. But we have to know, what do our teachers like? Their kids? Who do they love? Um, who who do they plan with? Who do they go out with? Now, I'm not saying be creepy and be that Facebook stalker, but I will say the more you know about a person, the more the person thinks that you care. Unless they're like, how did you know I was at, Ruby Tuesdays last Friday? Now that's kind of creepy. But we want to make sure that they know that we care. Yes, got a lot. Yes, gather, analyze data. You're right, Doreen. Patterns, trends. Yes, because currently at many schools, we don't have a way to give the teachers the social and emotional needs that they have. Our counselors are already at capacity. So think of, what are our safe spaces for our teachers to go? Where can our teachers go vent? Where can they get downtime? We want to make sure we're there for our teachers, and we also want to make sure that we meet the needs of what they're doing, their learning, their growth. And if we don't have it, we're finding it. We're having the coach supply it. If there's something in PD that they want or they didn't like, we're changing it for the next PD. Because there's nothing stagnant in education. We need to be ongoing, changing, growing, fixing, editing, fail fast, do it again. And so number 2, I say, what are the real non-negotiables? So when you create this change culture and this climate and this type of just divergent thinking, teachers are going to want to solve all of the problems of the world. And you have to tell them and express to them, yes, I don't mind these different changes. And I love when we have changes like this, but the non-negotiables are attendance. You need to turn in attendance, or this is something that this is a non-negotiable, and they need to know. They need to know that there's nothing that, but you need to be clear with that idea. And so also handing over the reins. Are you the only one doing teacher observation? If so, change that today. Tamara, you're right. Schools can create a space for teachers to relax. Oh, yes. Relax, refresh, re-energize, a room of calm and peace and safe. Yes, Tamara, you're so right. Tamara, that was what your session was about. I can't wait till they see your session after, coming up soon. But you're right. And I'm not going to give away what Tamara suggests, but she is on top of things when it comes to teacher supports and what it means to really give, massages. And, she was telling about companies that will come out for free for their branding because they want clients. So keep that in mind on these innovative things that you could do. Like I said, put deposits in your teachers' emotional bank accounts, but that takes you to do a little digging and to do a little work. And like I said, handing over the reins, make sure others, teacher leaders, maybe support you with that. Your assistant principal. I remember it was one school, they had the assistant principal come in every day at like 10 or 11. And so they switched his hours because one, his family needs, and two, the after school programs, they were finding lead teachers to monitor it. And they were having some discrepancy with, the after school program. So they were able to switch the principal's schedule to where she worked the day shift and the assistant principal worked the evening shift. So finding different ways to co-collaborate with your team, have a teacher leaders take on different roles. Maybe the math coach, the reading coach, literacy coach, assistant principal. Once you divide all the teachers by what, 8? Because in leverage leadership, the really rate of a principal coach to a teacher is about 1 to 8. Anything over that, you really can't get into the coaching cycles effectively. So if you can actually divvy up the supports, right, it's about support. If you can divvy up the supports and rotate the supports throughout the year and work with a group of teachers throughout the year, it helps. It helps to divvy up these opportunities. And then last but not least, how do you go about teachers sharing ideas with you? Is it okay for a teacher to come in your office and close the door? Is it okay for a teacher to tell you she needs a break and you divide up the class and then support her with her needs? Or is it not okay? Is it non-negotiable? And these are just some things that you need to consider. Who is the safe space in your school? Who's the person that people go to? And then how can you build that relationship with that? So I just want to give you just a tip of the iceberg of what is going on today and the beginning of a summit. And so what I want to do is, I don't want to give you all the answers because that's not what I am. I'm about sparking and igniting the flame, and we together as a team, as a collaborative effort, come up with solutions to everyday problems and even discuss it and talk about extension activities. What are some pre things that we can do? What are some scaffolds that we have to put in place? What are some ways we can identify parents and identify their needs and track their data and their supports? And so this is just the start of planting the seeds. Hopefully, things will grow, things will elaborate, and we can foster new relationships, build community, build collaboration through this summit. So I hope you enjoy the summit. I hope you love to learn like I do, because on a lot of the presentations, I'm geeking out. The first presentation is Steve Ventura. He's awesome. He talks about success criteria. And I even created a Google Doc. I don't know what we're going to do, but I have an idea that from his presentation, if you watch it, I'm pretty sure you watch it, he has, how do we know if students are actually getting what they're getting out of the standards? How are teachers rewriting the standards so we can do vertical and horizontal planning? And how are teachers making sure they come together to identify some of those goals? And so what I did is I created a second Google Doc. We'll see how this goes. And in the Google Doc I created, let's start writing our own success criteria. I wrote one, I put the standard, but I want to see where this goes. So I wrote one success criteria and I tried to break it down and I put little things. And so hopefully you will follow my Google Doc that I shared and we'll see what comes of that. And I kind of want to fill it with teacher thoughts, teachers' ideas, and feedback. So yes, yes, yes. I too am excited about the summit, Doreen. Like I said, the summit works like this. Once you've opted in, you will get the emails. You will get one email per day. So make sure you whitelist my Educational Innovation 360. And then with the email, you will get two speakers. You click on that and they will share their great ideas, great tips. We'll come to Facebook and we'll discuss it. We'll talk about extension activities or big takeaways. And then after that, that's when you get the discussion. And then the next day, 2 new speakers. The next day, 2 new speakers. Now, we do have on the weekend, we have 1 speaker per weekend because I know you guys have a lot, but we want to make sure we give you speakers to where we can start having those discussions and start having fun. So I'm so excited about the summit. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. This is the first summit from EI 360, and hopefully not the last. Hopefully we'll have more to come. All right, to my people, to my family, to my coaches, my leaders, my instructional leaders, to everybody, have a wonderful summit and have a wonderful rest of your day. And make sure you celebrate good times. Bye for now.